Hello, I'm Scott Pomeroy, President of the Child Neurology Foundation. I'm very pleased to announce this year's recipients of grants sponsored by the Child Neurology Society and the Child Neurology Foundation. These grants provide critical funding to support the development of research activities of child neurologists or developmental pediatricians in the early stages of their career. The 2020 Pediatric Epilepsy Research Foundation, or PERF, Elterman Research Grant recipient is Juliet Knowles. The title of her research is Targeting Aberrant Activity-Dependent Myelination in Absence Epilepsy. The 2020 PERF Shields Research Grant recipient is Youssef Kousa. The title of his research project is Identifying Genetic Risk Factors in Congenital Zika Syndrome. And finally, the Child Neurology Foundation Neurodevelopmental Disabilities Summer Scholarship supports research for a first or second year US or Canadian medical student who intends to train as a child neurologist. This year's recipient is Camille Corre. The title of her investigation is Investigating Cortical Cerebral Visual Impairment and Visual Processing Deficits in Cerebral Adrenoleukodystrophy. Each recipient will now give a brief presentation. To each of them, congratulations and good luck with your research projects.
Hi, everyone. My name is Juliet Knowles, and I am a pediatric epileptologist at Stanford University. And I would like to extend a sincere thank you to the Child Neurology Foundation and Pediatric Epilepsy Research Foundation for this extremely generous Elterman Research Grant. I'm really thrilled to receive this, and I think this support is going to be really critical for me as I make the transition from a trainee to an independent investigator with my own lab. I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to continue my research on abnormal myelin plasticity in absence epilepsy and other forms of epilepsy. And I'm going to be using the funding that's been so generously provided to perform multimodal MRI imaging in animal models of epilepsy, and also to study potential therapeutic strategies to target abnormal myelination in absence and potentially other forms of pediatric epilepsy. So once again, thank you so much. This support means a lot to me. It's, I think, going to prove to be very impactful in my career. And I, of course, sincerely hope that it advances our knowledge in a useful and clinically relevant way that will move the field of pediatric epilepsy forward. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Youssef Kousa, and I am a neonatal neurology attending at Children's National and an instructor in genomics, precision medicine, and neurology at George Washington University. I am very fortunate to be the 2020 Shields Research Grant recipient from the Pediatric Epilepsy Research Foundation, the Child Neurology Society, and the Child Neurology Foundation. I am very thankful for the award to the committee members, the chair of the committee, Dr. Laura Jensen, as well as the selection committee as well. The work that we do is really important all the time, but especially now, because I'm working on identifying genetic modifiers or genetic risk factors to neurodevelopmental disorders. And the way that we're doing that is we're using the Zika virus pandemic that happened in 2015 to sort of understand why some babies who were infected by the virus became affected, and why some babies who were infected by the virus were not affected. And the way that we're doing that is we're collecting blood samples from Central and South America and doing whole exome sequencing on them to look at genetic variants that might be associated with the development of congenital Zika syndrome or more severe outcomes in congenital Zika syndrome. We have ongoing collaborations with 16 international health centers throughout Central and South America, as well as collaborations with the CDC and the NIH. And so we're very grateful for that. I'm very appreciative of my mentors, Dr. Vittorio Gallo and Eric Villain, as well as Dr. William Davis Guyard and Roger Packer at Children's National, as well as Dr. Mark Batshaw at Children's National as well, in addition to all of the mentors and collaborators nationally and internationally that I've been fortunate enough to work with. I'm looking forward to using the funds in every way possible and using every penny of the funds to pushing this research program forward and learning something about why kids develop neurodevelopmental disorders and neurodevelopmental disabilities and have epilepsy. And hopefully one day we can use that information to prevent those disorders in kids who are affected. And I'm very passionate about this work, and I'm excited by the opportunity to be able to work on it. So thank you all very much. And I greatly appreciate the 2020 Pediatric Epilepsy Research Foundation Shields Research Grant, and I'm looking forward to the work. Thank you again.
I'm Don Shields, and I'd like to congratulate you on receiving an award. I think these are very important awards because it gives an opportunity for a young investigator to begin a career and become competitive for the grants. I thought it would be interesting for you to know how the Shields Award came about, and it began when I was a new faculty member at UCLA, and I was called to the emergency room late one afternoon to see a girl 3 years old who had seizures. And I managed her for a while, and then the family moved to New York. Dad got a big position at a company in New York. So they changed child neurologist, but when they had a problem, Dad would call me and we'd discuss it. And I was kind of like a second opinion a lot of the time. And as time went on, we would see each other periodically. And at one point he came to my office and said, I'd like to do something to help young investigators. And we discussed various options, and he chose to develop this award. And he supported the award for about 10 years. So he gave about $1 million in support of young investigators. And then the Pediatric Epilepsy Research Foundation took over sponsoring the award. When PERF started, I convinced Pug Winokur, who was the man I've been talking about, to join our board, and he's been our financial advisor on that board for many years and really helped us to make sure we're taking good care of the money that we have. So there's a long history to this award and a lot of success that's gone with it. So again, congratulations for receiving this award, and I'll look forward to your reports in the future about what successes you've had with it.
Hi, I'm Roy Elterman. I'm the current president of the Pediatric Epilepsy Research Foundation. My background is that I was a clinical child neurologist in private practice. I am currently retired. I spend my time doing a number of things, but one of the most enjoyable is running the Pediatric Epilepsy Research Foundation, better known as PERF. And PERF is a wonderful thing that happened as a result of some work of Dr. Donald Shields and myself, helping to bring the anticonvulsant vigabatrin to market in the United States. Not only did this make vigabatrin available to children with infantile spasms, but completely unexpectedly, it provided a royalty that Dr. Shields and I chose to use to fund research in pediatric neurology. So that is what PERF does. We primarily fund research in pediatric neurology. We like to develop networks, infrastructure type projects, and registries as well. And ideally, we like to work with young investigators, but we take all comers. This year, we are very happy to announce that Madison Burke of Children's Memorial Hospital in Washington, D.C., was the winner of the prize. It is a $200,000 prize dispensed over 2 years, and it is primarily aimed at helping investigators develop infrastructure, registries, and networks that can eventually lead to projects that can get national funding. And we are very hopeful that Madison's project does lead to future grants from larger organizations. Thank you.
I'm Madison Burke, and I'm a pediatric neuropsychologist at Children's National Hospital in Washington, D.C. And I want to thank the Pediatric Epilepsy Research Foundation for awarding us this infrastructure award. We aim to look at neuropsychological outcomes of children up for pediatric epilepsy surgery. And as we all know, epilepsy is more than the seizures, and this is in line with the mission of PERF to improve quality of life and being able to have robust prediction models. We need large data, and this award will allow us to systematically collect these outcomes across multiple sites. And so this is a wonderful opportunity for us, and we have several institutions excited to collaborate together on this project. So thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Peter Blasco, and I'm speaking to you from Portland, Oregon. And it is my pleasure today to announce the recipient of this year's Child Neurology Foundation Neurodevelopmental Disabilities Summer Scholarship. This scholarship was set up about 5 years ago by the Neurodevelopmental Disabilities Program Directors in collaboration with Child Neurology Foundation. The intent of the award is to interest medical students in child neurology and neurodevelopmental disabilities. So it's designed for first and second year medical students. The funding for the award comes by way of an account that the NDD program directors set up, again in partnership with the Child Neurology Foundation, and amounts to an award of $3,500 to support the student during a mentored summer research project. We generally try to get the announcement for the award out in December. Application deadline is April, and we announce the winner of the award in May. As you might expect, this year we had a lot fewer applicants than we're accustomed to because of all the COVID-19 business. But the applications we got were excellent. And it is my distinct pleasure to announce this year's recipient. It's Camille Corre, who was a first-year medical student at the University of Rochester, although she actually conducted a research project at the Center for rare neurologic diseases at Mass General in Boston. The title of Camille's project this past summer was Investigating Cortical/Cerebral Visual Impairment and Visual Processing Deficits in Cerebral Adrenoleukodystrophy. Her research mentor was Dr. Florian Eichler, Associate Professor at Harvard Medical School, and her sponsoring faculty member from the University of Rochester is Dr. Jonathan Mink, a name I think is familiar to some of you. So Camille, congratulations.
Hello, my name is Camille Corre, and I'm a second-year medical student at the University of Rochester School of Medicine and Dentistry. For my summer research project, I explored the prevalence and presentation of cortical visual impairment and visual processing deficits in cerebral adrenoleukodystrophy. Cerebral ALD is a devastating demyelinating disease for which we have a very effective treatment option, hematopoietic stem cell transplantation, as well as many emerging treatments on the horizon. With the advent of newborn screening and a rapidly evolving therapeutic landscape, it is now possible to halt cerebral ALD at increasingly earlier time points in the disease process. Since visual processing deficits and cortical visual impairment are known to be early symptoms of cerebral ALD, I was interested in exploring these symptoms in all patients with cerebral ALD, but specifically in those with early disease. What I found most striking in my work this summer was that these symptoms are present even in patients with very early brain lesions and in those who have undergone successful stem cell transplant. Historically, we have used survival in the absence of major functional disabilities as an outcome measure to assess the efficacy of stem cell transplant. But this measure doesn't capture symptoms of cortical visual impairment until they've progressed all the way to cortical blindness. In my project, I show that cortical visual impairment is prevalent not just among untreated and advanced patients, but also in those with an early lesion who have undergone successful hematopoietic stem cell transplant. This might suggest that the window for therapeutic intervention to fully optimize visual function and functional vision may be earlier than that to ensure survival without major disabilities. Further, even boys and men considered ideal transplant candidates based on MRI score and clinical picture may not experience functionally optimal outcomes. The broader implication of my work is that earlier diagnosis of cerebral ALD may provide the opportunity to shift focus away from major functional disability-free survival toward a more nuanced understanding of quality of life following transplant. I am so grateful to be this year's recipient of the CNF's Neurodevelopmental Disability Scholarship. I've had the opportunity to learn from two mentors who inspire me, Dr. Florian Eichler and Dr. John Mink. Even amidst the challenging circumstances of this summer, both mentors made unique opportunities available to me to learn more about areas of personal interest, particularly in severe neurodegenerative diseases of childhood. I am immensely grateful for their support and for the support of the Child Neurology Foundation for making this experience possible. Thank you.